Hello everyone and welcome to Tekkit. Today I'm going to be showing you all the different ways of generating power in Tekkit, ranging from the basic generator and solar panels all the way to the almighty nuclear reactor, which is very dangerous to make, as you may already know, but it's very handy. The only reason why I'm lagging so much is that my frame rate drops horribly when I try to record, but I'm sure we can get past that. So to start off with, obviously we need our basic generator to give us some power. And a generator, it's very useful because if we put something like coal inside it, it burns our coal and produces a nice little bit of energy. So it's very useful early in game, and it's probably the first thing you're going to want to make. To make a generator, you need one iron furnace, 3 refined iron and 1 RE battery. To make a battery, you need 4 tin, 2 redstone and 1 copper cable, and copper cable is made with 3 copper and 6 rubber, makes 6 cable. So that's how you make a generator, and a generator is used to make pretty much every single thing that we're going to be covered, so you might need a lot of them. We're not going to cover how to make the storage devices, we're only covering how to make the actual things that make the power. So we have our generator, but if we want to go a bit more advanced than that, then we can go ahead and make a solar panel. Solar panel, you may already know what a solar panel does. It generates power using the sun, and it is pretty much infinite. To make a solar panel, you need 2 electronic circuits, 1 generator, 3 coal dust, and 3 glass. You need a macerator if you're making a solar panel, because to make coal dust, you need to macerate 1 piece of coal, as you can see. To make electronic circuit, you need 6 cable, 2 redstone, and 1 refined iron. So it's quite expensive investment. That's what I'm looking for to make this. And what it does during the day, it gives you power that it outputs into your bat box or whatever storage device you've got. You can upgrade your solar panel into this, a low voltage solar array, which as you can see is, that's completely full because it's generated so much energy. So I'll plunk that down. As you can see, that generates so much more energy than this. And to make the low voltage solar array, you need to surround 1 low voltage transformer with 8 solar panels. So it is quite expensive, and it's probably the most common thing that people will use to make. The next level up from that is the medium voltage solar array, which makes absolutely loads of energy, and it's made by surrounding a medium voltage transformer with low voltage solar arrays. And the same applies to the next one up, which is this, a high voltage solar array, and it generates absolutely loads of energy. As you can see, look how fast that's going. But a high voltage solar panel is very difficult to make, so most people are probably going to go for the low voltage solar array, but you know, it's there, so you can make it. And that's a very basic way of generating power, and it only runs during the day. But here's something that will run 24/7. It's the water mill. As the name entails, it runs in water and outputs really small amounts of energy into your bat box. For some reason it's stopped. I'm not quite sure why. It was generating power a minute ago. Let's try that again. But what we can do, it will generate a really small amount of power when it's in water, and this stuff, oops, that's not it, it's called ultra low current cable. It takes a really small amount of energy, which we can use, hopefully, if the game doesn't screw up. Let's try that. There you go, now it's generating a tiny amount of energy. We can speed up the amount of energy that it produces by putting in a bucket, but you know, this is manual and we want it to generate energy as automatically as we can. So if you build lots of water mills, then you know that can do the job as well. And to make a water mill, you simply need 1 generator surrounded by 4 wooden planks and 4 sticks. It makes 2 water mills. So it's a very cost effective way of making power. And the next one up is probably something very obvious. It's a windmill, and the windmill generates energy via the wind, of course, and as you can see, generates energy very slowly, and the reason why it's so high up is because if there are any obstructions, and now it's raining, 1 second, if there are any obstructions, then it can actually affect how much power it generates, and the ground itself actually counts as an obstruction. Obviously, you won't be able to get rid of the wires as an obstruction, because you need wires to actually output into the back box, but this is the most effective way, especially if you make lots of wind turbines. And this cable is glass fiber cable, which is probably the most useful cable, because even though it's very expensive, it loses barely any EU. So let's see if I can find it. Here it is. So it's made with 1 diamond, 2 redstone and 6 glass, so it is very expensive. It only makes 4, so you need a lot of that. And these are all very, very basic ways of making power in Tekkit. So now we're going to move up to the next level, which is this thing. It's a geothermal generator. This thing in real life uses hot gases from the ground, which turns a turbine which produces energy. But because Tekkit is like nowhere near in real life, what it does is if we put in a lava cell, we can generate power. As you can see, it generates lots of power for our bat box, and eventually that will stop, so we can keep feeding it lava cells. And you might be thinking that that's a finite way of generating power. Not quite. You can actually generate infinite energy this way from what I've set up here. And basically all this is we've got an energy collector next to a condenser connecting loads of lava cells, hooked up to a transposer and some redstone tubing, which leads into the bottom of this geothermal generator, and eventually outputs loads of power. So we can keep this going continuously using a timer. There we go. As you can see, it's now pulling the cells into the geothermal generator, and now it's going to turn on and generate lots of power, and eventually that will fill up and start using all the power. As you can see, it's filling up, so yeah, that you might need to stop that somehow, but yeah, that works. And next up, we've got something that generates loads of power. This is the engine generator, and what this does, it generates energy using, quite simply, engines. What we've got here, we've got a high voltage engine generator hooked up to some combustion engines, feeding into an MFSU, because this generates lots of energy. So if I just get this, to make a high voltage one, you need 4 gold, 2 redstone, 1 high voltage transformer, 1 diamond gear and 1 combustion engine. Now this kind of works in the same way for all generators, engine generators. So if you wanted to make a low voltage one, you'd need, say, an iron gear and a redstone engine and a low voltage transformer. So you know, it works in the same way. And what we've got here, we've got an infinite supply of water going into the combustion engines, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill them with some fuel to get them to work. Now they won't explode, so hopefully, I'm pretty sure they won't explode. As long as they've got water in them to cool them, they won't explode. So as you can see, they're all starting to work slowly, and they're making some energy for us. So that's very simple. And last but not least, we have probably the most dangerous way of making power. It is, of course, the nuclear reactor. The reactor generates so much energy, as you can see, actually needs to be turned into high voltage energy to be put into an MFSU. And what we've got, this cable is so thick it almost looks like a block. It's 4 times insulated high voltage cable, so it can take a lot of heat. And what we've got here, this setup, we've got 1 reactor chamber surrounded by 5, no, that's wrong, we've got 1 nuclear reactor surrounded by 5 reactor chambers in a pool of water surrounded by reinforced glass, because the water will cool down the chambers and the reinforced glass may minimise the explosion if it does happen. So if we go in here, in the middle we've got the nuclear reactor, which is where all the power is generated from. So let's see if I can click this. To make a nuclear reactor, this is very, very complicated, so bear with me. You need 2 reactor chambers, 1 generator, 2 advanced circuits, and 4 advanced alloy. You need a lot of advanced alloy, and to make advanced alloy you compress a mixed metal ingot which is made with 3 refined iron, 3 bronze and 3 tin, which makes 2. To make the advanced circuit you need 4 redstone, 2 lapis, 2 glowstone and 1 electronic circuit. And to make the reactor chambers you need a machine block, 4 advanced alloy, 1 integrated heat disperser and 3 integrated reactor platings. The heat disperser is also used in the reactor itself and is made using 1 advanced circuit, 2 copper, 2 coolant cells and 1 integrated reactor plating. To make the plating you just need 1 advanced alloy with 4 copper. And to get a coolant cell, if I can just get that, you just need to extract 1 water cell. But coolant cells don't stack, so you need to keep taking them out manually. Just going to turn it back to day. So what we're going to do is we can surround the nuclear reactor in the middle with reactor chambers to increase the amount of space we've got in the reactor. So as you can see, we've got a nice simple setup. We've got loads of coolant cells with 4 integrated heat dispersers. This should be enough to contain the heat. And what will happen is the uranium will get used up and it will heat up. So we want to make this as safe as possible. So we're now going to put the uranium in. Hopefully this won't explode. So as you can see, it's making some power for us. And you can hear it whirling away there. And I'm really afraid that's going to explode, so I'm just going to take them out. But yeah, you can increase the amount of uranium you put in there to generate more power, but you have to be really careful, because otherwise it could explode and you could lose all the stuff. It is ideal that you build a nuclear reactor underground so that if it does explode, then a lot of stuff on the surface isn't affected. And just before I finish, I forgot to show you how to make the geothermal generator. It's made with 2 empty cells, 4 glass, 2 refined iron and 1 generator, and the empty cells made using 4 tin. It makes 16 cells, so it's very cost effective. And to make a windmill, or wind turbine, whatever you want to call it, it's just 1 generator surrounded by 4 iron, so that's very cheap. So that is pretty much it, from all the basics to the nuclear reactor. So if you do have any questions about how to generate power in Tekkit or anything related to this, then don't be afraid to post a question in the comments, because otherwise, you're never going to get an answer. So I really do hope that was very successful, very helpful, and I hope you're able to generate loads of power using all this. If you use this all together, then you can generate loads of power. You might even need to make another MFSU, which is just a nightmare to make. So, but yeah, I hope that was really useful. Thanks everyone. Bye.